Hello, welcome to another episode of Full Circle with me, Onyx. And today I want to make a video on self realization and how easy it truly is. Um, when you strip all the mysticism out of it, when you strip away all the stories and narratives on how you think it should look, the reality is self realization is so much like discovering you have a shadow and discovering, it's attached to you. And and it's pretty much like that. You can't really lose yourself. So if you think you're lost, you know, the answer is so simple. It's just come back to yourself. So that's pretty much it. What simple ways can you come back to your authentic self? So, self, what, and realization, if everything's so self realization leads to God realization. And you could say God is the universe, but you could say it's the mechanics of the universe, it's the reality of what is. So, depending upon your personality, there is a particular door for you. So for me, I think it was a mechanical door. A little bit of what we would like to call logic, reason, science. Um, and that door spoke to me, where the religious door of worship and faith and emotions and kind of visceral connection sensations, uh, emoting like gratitude and appreciation. To me, that just looked really sloppy and dirty and messy and like it looked painful. It looked very much something at high risk value. So I thought moving towards the ideas of like meditation and contemplation, self reflection really resonated with me. And so here we are at the very beginning, asking, tuning into ourself, tuning into our body, our personalities, our upbringing. And so when you start tuning back into yourself, you've already got in the car and you've buckled up and, or you've gotten on the amusement park ride and, you've already bought your ticket. As soon as you start questioning and wondering, you know, and so there are roadblocks to people even wanting to question and wanting to know the truth of themselves, how things actually work, what is, uh, and usually with a really strong belief, there's a fear hiding behind there, an uncertainty and unknown. For some people, it could be a belief of being not worthy, not good enough. Who am I, such a insignificant little nothing, a grain of sand, a, a, a discarded human on an unknown planet in a billion of other planets. The numbers point to your insignificance. So, who are you to have such an awakening, such an understanding, to feel blessed, to feel worthy, to have things like self realization and God realization come to you, you know? And so I think like religion helps some people, but turns away a lot of people due to the way it's presented, you know. I think meditation helps a lot of people and then discourages a lot of people. And so I immersed myself into the world of Eastern philosophy kind of at a young age. I'd say I was in high school, a junior high and high school. I took martial arts, and where does this come from and what is this all about? What is Zen? What is Buddhism? What is meditation? What is energy? What is yoga? What is the void? So Zen and the void and nothing really kind of like, I think it was like a something outside my construct, outside my reality. What is this thing striking inspiration, wonder, and terror, excitement and fear? Like, I think I was experiencing a little bit of anxiety, and I didn't even know I was experiencing it. Uh, when it came to the nothing, the void, the empty. Um, but I just remember I spent years thinking about it in the back of my mind, just pondering, like, what was non-existence? And so to kind of move forward in time, I'm already self-realized, okay? That just happened on accident, and I think that was the best thing to have happen. And would I say it's a full awakening into enlightenment? No. You know, I climbed one mountain and saw there were many more mountains to climb. But you know what? I climbed one mountain and I saw the top at this point, and it was so refreshing and eye-opening. And I can look down the mountain and see other people haven't started up the mountain, don't even know it's a mountain yet. Other people are already on their way, other people are coming down, other people are very seasoned mountaineers, and they've maybe traveled many mountains and they're just passing by. So we bring this back down to earth. We bring this back down to an everyday experience. Awakenings can happen on a sliding scale, from deeply profound to, whoa, that was an amazing idea, to kind of like a paradigm shift. Or you deconstruct your construct, so that almost be like a transformation of self. It could be like a rebirth. You could see the world differently. The contrast between what you knew then to what you knew now could be so profound. It's like having a total rebirth or personality overhaul. And it doesn't have to be like that. Do you really need a waterfall of awakening, or is 1 teaspoon enough? Can you be grateful for 1 teaspoon? For me and my 3 seconds of hanging out with the great I am was enough to shift my perspective on life. And then the effects have been amazing. Uh, on some levels, it was sudden and dramatic. On other levels, uh, is hidden and behind the scenes. Sometimes it's more forward and I'm channeling the great I am. And other times it's more on the back seat, subconsciously uh, giving me cues that I'm not aware of. And so awakening, well, we'll just move on, okay? So yes, I kind of wanted to go forward a little bit. Like, who am I to even talk about self-realization, enlightenment, spirituality? I've been doing that my whole life. I've been driven towards it, and I've worked for it. So even though I had my spontaneous encounter with the I am, it didn't mean I didn't prepare for it for 30 years. It didn't mean I didn't study in the systems that attracted me to even help my mind open up to even comprehend what was happening. So it's a lifestyle that can make it easier. for before, during, and after. Um, but anyways, I've always been into metaphysical concepts. I always wanted to have those experiences. So I'd say the hunger was there, the seeker personality, the drive was there. And so I'm just saying, you're going to reach your destination. So, and now I, and so, uh, sorry, there's so much. And learning to work in the present moment, learning to be in the present moment is really the tool to, I would say, heal all mental and physical problems. To heal the world is to be present. So, and is for me, it's been a master key. Have I mastered living in the present moment? No. And that's part of the fun. Okay, if you're going to be on the planet, you might as well have a task, and that task might as well serve you and serve others. Otherwise it would be boring and you wouldn't even be motivated. Why would you do anything that had no value? You wouldn't do it. So anyways, let's move on a little bit. So some of the blessings and gifts by being open, and this has a lot to do with being open-minded, um, being willing to deconstruct your beliefs, being willing to deconstruct your personality, your ego, the world, to look at things and instead of judging them or being for or against or feeling triggered, feel your judgment, feel your trigger, feel you for, feel you against, watch yourself. All of a sudden, being possessed by your inner warrior, fighting for your rights and the narrative that you've subscribed to. And then watch yourself go, oh crap. Yeah, how humiliating and foolish. I just screamed at the top of my lungs about, uh, advocating for certain human rights. And I can't believe I said that. I can't believe I did that. Yep, made a complete fool of myself. And then go in and go, ow. And then go, I see why I did that. So a path of self-reflection can take you straight up the mountain to the realization of your unlimited self. Okay? Your history is packed full of keys and clues on, hindsight is like 2020 on how you arrived to this point, maybe even to this video, and however far you are on your journey. Like I remember so off, like it's just come to me when I'm talking now. Like there's this book, it was called Super Beings. I remember I was reading it on the bus while I was in massage school as a young person. Uh, and I remember just like, yeah, there are no limits. And so that was like before infinite possibilities and co-creation and your creator and all this new age stuff became part of mainstream vocabulary. There's this like book, this used book I bought at the store for $8 called Super Beings. And I liked it because it was positive. I liked it because it was telling me there was hope. There was not really hope, but possibility, that the world wasn't so rigid. That's really kind of what its message was. And I think just reading it kind of like just changed me. It was like a turning point. So when I look back through my history, there was a clue, there was a key handed to me very obviously right in my own hand, about opening up your mind. Uh, so little things like that you'll find. Zen Buddhism, Zen, that was another big key. the void uh, in magic, working with that was a key. So there were many. But anyways, moving on. The fact is I stuck with it and I had faith. I believed strongly in these esoteric principles of Eastern philosophy. Well, no one in my environment was doing that at the time, really. Yet some people were on the planet. And so I kept going. Uh, and then to the point where I just said, forget it. I don't care if I'm enlightened. I don't care if I have an awakening. I don't care if I have any understand what the void is, experience nothingness. Even though I'm going straight for it, like I'm swimming instinctually. And the more I let go, the more I arrived there faster. So, yeah, you're probably going to effort things until you're done efforting it, until you're burnt out. And then after you're burnt out, in this in between state between uh, trying to recover and dead, you're going to have your experience. It's going to fall into your lap because you're not over efforting it, because you're not thinking it's going to be this when it could be that. So, expectation, when you really believe it's going to look like this and sound like that, you watched a video, everyone's on the floor screaming and saying they're having a Kundalini awakening. And you're like, well, that looks cool and terrifying, and I'm bored, but they're already kind of giving you an idea of what it's going to be like. I'm here to say it may be similar of whatever experience you're going for, but it will be unique and individual to you. Hence, know thyself. This relates to magic, mysticism, your life, self-help, therapy, anything you want to do. Know thyself, know thyself, know thyself. Be more authentic, be more authentic. Strive to follow those feelings. And in being authentic, as I get now, learn to think for yourself. When you really think about it so much, there's all these adults telling you what to do. All these people who just love to sit in the power position and tell you a story based upon my experience of 50 years in education, based on my experience of 50 years as a therapist or at my craft. Yeah, that's great and all, but you have to filter that and don't throw away your mind. Don't throw away your heart. Don't throw away your existence. And so I'm going to have to go into this. My mom has been raised in a cult where she thought it was religion. So people switch words around. And she thought faith meant obey. So her whole life, she's been obeying. And unfortunately, in that religion that's very popular in Utah, I don't need to exactly say its name, but y'all know what it is. It's like so not cool for women. And so, for being a loving, passionate, loud, strong woman, her into that cult, that programming, was so detrimental to her health, her well being. So she grew up feeling inherently guilty and ashamed for being female, for having sexual desires, and for questioning anything. Because to question is to doubt God and comes with a punishment. So her whole life she's been a slave to a cult that's promising freedom in the next life. So, if someone's promising you something from a God that really can't be documented, um, you know, and it's promising you a better life after this one, and it's taking no responsibility for the world at large, the ecosystem, and for each other, you know, I that's I would say that's a huge red flag. But unfortunately, a lot of people are born into this religion. So there's a lot of so you don't know any other way. You're just into the cult religion of the state that thinks it's controlling the world. It's crazy. But anyways, it doesn't matter, okay? The point is, we get conditioning and programming. And some of that is very shaming, very toxic. Like, love is outside of you. It's inside your partner. It's inside God. It's out there somewhere, and you don't have it. And so, who are you to then all of a sudden love yourself? Who are you to think you're great? Who are you? And so, my mom is going through a spiritual transformation and an awakening. And for her, uh, age and time is part of it. You know, certain ego structures are breaking. And after you've been around the world and lived life so much, you find that some of your beliefs just don't work anymore, and it's time to let them go. But we could start letting go now, is what I'm saying. And opening up our mind to something that sounds good. Like, holy cow, if something sounds better than that, you might want to consider it. Don't consider it blasphemy, sinful and wrong and dangerous. If it feels good and it's freeing your heart and it's giving you permission. So intuitively, I felt a higher power, that power, source energy, that power love, that power creation, that power wisdom, uh, wanted to help my mom see that you don't have to be part of an organization or believe in anything to have love exist in the world. You take those structures away, love still exists. You take those structures away, ethics exist. You take those structures away, morality exists. And this is what's called the living presence, the living spirit, versus something you read about in a book and do a ritual for, believe in, you know. It's living. And to understand that it's living and you're not separated. So it's belief systems, ideas, and mental structures that create separation. Our old scientific model was, let's break this down, look at it at all these different parts and name them and label them, and then we'll discover. And I'm like, yeah, but also put it back together. Look at it in its wholeness. So you can do both. You don't have to, it doesn't have to be sacrificial, one or the other. So for me, because I bring in the new information to share with my mom, we both grew. And it was the full logical, reasonable understanding that love is inherently part of the pattern that nature is. And because of that, if a week later, ethics. There's natural ethics in nature. There's natural morality in nature. It's not how someone else describes it. Just lust, life, death, and lust. Non-reasonable, chaos, random patterns going randomly until something survives. It's not all about domination of a species or certain adaptations for survival that you're fed. There's, in the backdrop of the limited human perspective, very one-dimensional, there is room for love. There's room for ethics. There's room for morality. And we actually, when you open your eyes to it, you see it in wolf packs, you see it in gorilla pack, I don't know what they call them, families, tribes. You see it with elephants. You see it with other species taking care of other species. So, yes, all the horrors are there too. We don't live truly in a polarized world. We live in a world where it's all there now, all happening now. So the beautiful and the profane, the good and the evil, the light and the dark, it's all here side by side, and creating patterns that are reasonable, logical, have wisdom in the moment, and can actually be more of a hands-off human experience. It can be, which is kind of what it was designed. Like, we don't have to control the weather. We don't have to control agriculture. We don't have to control each other. We don't have to play God when it's happening in nature's patterns already. This bleeds into spirituality too. You don't need so many techniques, spells, poses, rituals. You could just start following the natural rhythms, the patterns. So, looks like my video is wrapping up soon. But let me go to my ex-boyfriend. I talk every now and then with my ex. You know, he's a part of my life. As I see him as a brother, as I see him as a family member, there's no reason, I don't have any negative feelings that way. And I feel responsible for my loved ones, people I choose as my tribe. So when he tells me he doesn't believe like in an afterlife and you just die and there's nothing, which is the second person of the same psychological problems that has mentioned that. There's nothing after this life, so no responsibility. Let me just take out all my wounds on everyone around me. So unhealed people, I've noticed a lot of them, they're so into their problems, swept away into their pain and their drama. They don't have time to relax and think about the afterlife or a broader, more holistic model. And so it was kind of a cliffhanger when he told me that in random conversation, and I felt that was painful. And so like probably like a week later, which is today, I respond. I wake up this morning with this like fire in my soul, and this eloquent poetry came out about, instead of saying no, there is no nothing, yes, there is nothing. And nothing itself is the key to immortality, because it's not bound by descriptions, it's not bound by forms. It can allow forms and descriptions and then some. And so I really saw it like the snake eating its tail. And that point, that meeting point, is the only reason why it can happen, the only reason why magic happens, the only reason why time and space are held together, the only reason why past and future have continuity, the only reason why we can, is this magic portal, this keyhole. It's a micro void or a macro void. It's through the void, it's through the nothing, it's through the empty, it's through the unknown that it all works, that it functions. The will, what makes it work, is the hole in the middle. The record, it's the hole in the record in the center that lets it spin. I mean, these are metaphors, but when you put black and white together, it makes clear. Clear can be that portal. Clear can be nothing. So what I really love about the sky is there's this quote that says, you let something, you can't measure the sky. You don't know exactly when our atmosphere turns into space. That it's like a gradient, and you can't really measure it. You don't know, okay, am I in space now or am I in space now? Is it only because of the sun's reflection that I'm in and so the sky could also include all of space. And so he has an Aquarius moon. So of course I'm going to use the sky as a metaphor and space to help him understand that believing in nothing isn't exactly false. Just like an atheist, I don't believe in anything. I'm like, congratulations, you're on the very first step of profound spirituality, of awakening. There's no way off the path, really. But you could say, I choose not to entertain any beliefs right now. I choose to hold the gate closed and stay stuck in ignorance because I don't want to look at that. That could be, so I'm an atheist because I don't want to look. And I'll say, okay, you can have a religion about that, the religion of resistance, okay? But to believe in nothing is a double confession that you believe in the heart of Zen, which is nothing, which is the void. From the nothing, all things come out. Through nothing, anything and everything could be contained in the nothing. To bring it back to magic, Onyx, what are you talking about? This and magic. I'm like, what do you think the black hat is that the rabbit comes out of? That void, that portal, that vortex of the nothing, the impossible, the white rabbit emerges, manifests, materialize. So through nothing, because it was a fear of death and a fear of non-existence, and the ego fears that. And so people, that certain personality disorder is attached to a toxic ego, and it fears death. But the good news is there's no such thing as death. There is no Grim Reaper. There's only transformation. From this to that, you're in a process of transformation. You're changing your wardrobe. In this lifetime, in this moment, I played this crazy lady. But now I want to play this handsome young prince. Well, I got to take wardrobe change. Dang, you mean I have to take this whole body off? Yeah. Well, that's going to be a transformation. Yeah. And you might need to hire extra help, depending on, So when you get stuck in your character, when you get stuck in your personality, when you get stuck in your story, you can use the power of nothing to help. I mean, it was really profound, but, this is just a talk. And maybe it can help you as well. But the gift was, I have experienced the infinite. I call it infinity. I call it eternity and infinity. Beyond time and space, to have these higher spiritual experiences, you carry that with you, and then you can have those conversations with people that need to hear it, and you can be a blessing in their life. You can change their perspective. You could help them dismantle a belief that's been holding them prisoner for a lifetime. Modifying that limiting belief has been restricting them from the full expression of their humanness, has been restricting them from experiencing the joy of living. And so that's the power of you, in your, so this really kind of went all over the place, but invest in yourself. You are the greatest gift. Praise